Yes, team. Welcome to the Total Mental Performance Podcast. Today we have a special guest, a good friend of mine and a client, which is Tony McAleavy. Tony is one of those individuals where you have the word coach, you have the word entrepreneur, and he has both. Not only is he a phenomenal coach, but he's genuinely an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody that can see problems and solve them and then create businesses around that. And Tony's been able to do that in a number of different ways. So Tony, welcome back to the podcast. You've been on the podcast before.
Yeah, spot on. Probably around 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, a lot's changed. A lot has
changed, yeah. Well, when we first met, I actually first met Tony in a bar. It was Lock, Stock and Barrels with Kirk Miller. He'd brought us all together. And I remember chatting with Tony, and I remember thinking, this is a smart dude. And then Tony actually said it to me, you're a smart dude. And I said, well, I think you're a smart dude. And we kind of kept in touch over a couple of years after that. And then...
yeah, pretty much just picked up from that. It was a case of we just had a small conversation and then bumped into each other and then it just sort of went from there. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we're working together probably... You're inside our mentorship for the past 2+ years and then I'm working with you one-to-one probably like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I needed time away though because I struggle to take advice always from friends. I used to, not as much anymore. Now they're probably like the only people I really trust because I feel like they've got my best interest at heart.
Yeah.
But sometimes you would have passed off. So I felt like that time allowed us to fucking get forward momentum.
Yeah. If you're going to paint the picture of this is how I work, because you're working on a number of different projects. You're not just coaching. Just lay out the land. What does your personal and business landscape look like?
On a day-to-day basis or?
No, like because you're in a number of different businesses that people don't even know about.
Yeah. Like I have fitness, mentorship, property. I do a little bit of consulting on the side and stuff as well. It just depends. When people have problems, I tend to be able to solve them. But that sounds very confident, but it's just a case of when it's not your problem, it's always very simple, I find, because you're not emotionally attached. You're like, it's this or this. And it's like, this is the way I would deal with it. It was me. So yeah, I'm involved in multiple things. So I'm not spread thin at all. If anything... I find I have a lot of time to think now. I was for a long time, felt like I was chasing tail when I was much younger. I would have brought that up in the other podcast, like the insecurities of not being good enough drove me. Whereas now I'm very relaxed, and I feel like I operate so much better and everything from like my stress is low, income's high. Like it's hard to explain, but it's good. That's pretty much a summary in my work life. It's like, but then all my time is mainly on content. It's not on... That's little glimmers of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you got the coaching business. Run us through that. Who does it help? How does it work? All
right, straightforward. So my fitness coaching business, it mainly helps males. There is females and we do photo shoots or everything, but I'd say about 80% is about males. And realistically, it's probably between like 20 and 40. It's mainly Gen Pop. Like it's people who need to lose weight all the way to photo shoot. It's not bodybuilders. It's not people that are just brand new to the gym. They're usually in the gym like a year or so and they struggling to get a better result. And then we do a lot in the mindset as well. It's all about discipline, routines, habits. We do a lot in that rather than just like, let's get you jacked. Because I like it to flow into every area and be a full rounded person rather than just like, oh, you have muscles, but you're born as fuck and you have no life outside of that. Like,
and how big's the team? How many clients you guys working with roughly?
The team's pretty big. Like I don't know exact numbers. We're probably talking like, say fitness, maybe like a 10-person operation max. We're talking client numbers. If you're including the app, we're helping thousands of men and women. Like there's a lot of people, and then the one-to-one separate to the app, which the app is thousands. The one-to-one, there's a couple hundred in there because we have different coaches, different tiers.
That's right. And you're doing lots of one-to-one coach. There are one-to-one coaches in there, right?
Yeah. It depends. So I'm very keen on like making sure everybody can get looked after because like although it's like everybody has the money and sell high ticket, from a personal standpoint, like there was a stage where I was younger, around 18, 19, and I remember only being able to sign up with a coach for 8 weeks because I couldn't afford the payments. Like it wasn't like I didn't have the money. Like I generally couldn't afford it. And I remember this was at a time when coaching was like £300 for 12 weeks and I was being pushed out. Like I was only like 17 or 18. So I like the idea of like, you can get a very high level service from me for fuck all as well. It just depends on how much accountability, because then the lower you pay, the less accountability, but everything's there. Whereas that was a time point where I didn't get that. So we have everything from £30 a month packages the whole way up to a couple hundred.
Yeah. So you've got that business and then you've got a mentoring business.
Yeah. And
tell us about that.
So the mentoring business was started out because Stephen pretty much sought me out. He had been in multiple mentorships working on them and pretty much found that I had the solution to most people's problems. I've never had a lead problem, which tends to be everybody else's problem. I've never struggled with that. I just found that really simple to solve at all times. Still do. And that tends to be the main problem every other coach struggles with. So he was like, this guy seems to be able to solve that problem. And then he sort of pitched it to me. I said, no, I want to just do fitness. A year went by. He pitched it again. And I was like, right, I'll do it. But like, I'm going to give you time frame on when I want to dial back. We help coaches scale everything from probably like 0 to like 200K sterling per month. We have some really big results. But like, yeah, that's the mentorship business as a whole.
Yeah. How many people are in the mentorship? Not necessarily customers, but the team.
Oh, the team's, I'd say 15ish.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a lot of staff when you're, and then there's other businesses too.
When I first started consulting for you guys, it was just you two.
Yeah. It was probably about 2 years. Yeah, there was only us two, like two hamsters on the wheel, like. But that's the way it always is at the start. Like the start, it's just sleeves are up, and you're just digging through the muck to get things. You're just moving the wheel. That's why every business starts. So hard work.
And then you built a property company as well.
Yeah, we do everything from rentals, HMOs, which is house of multiple occupancy. So like we have Ukrainians in the government rent them. We have singles, we have doubles, we have everything. We're looking to turn some buildings into Airbnbs and stuff as well. Do you know, like where you take like 8 bedrooms, you refurbish, you do stuff like that as well. So we do everything. And then I'm starting to move it out to Dubai now as well. A lot of that was in the UK. So we're diversifying a bit more as we scale that. But yeah, that's a completely different beast as well. I don't know how I managed to do that one. That was like I threw money at it initially, and then like I realized I was like, oh, this isn't just where you put money in and you get money out. If you're looking to make real money on it, it takes like there's a lot of lessons in the property game too, because you're dealing with a market that you're doing your best to estimate.
Well, you're guessing, right?
Yeah,
you're doing your data, you're understanding the data, but you're guessing the market's going to go this way or this way.
You're just taking bets. You're just going, I reckon this house will be worth this much. I reckon I can get a tenant for that because the school's close. There's this, there's that. But like, you don't know what can happen. But we do that, and then, yeah, that's the main three that I focus on anyway.
You got any other little secret businesses like popping up out of nowhere?
Bits and pieces, but like I if it doesn't have to be on property doesn't have to be on social media, so I don't even
talk about it.
Really bring it up anymore. And they're the three that are a level where like to an extent it's worth noting. For me, like they're all generating quite large amounts of money. They're all doing really well. The profit margins are high. So like for me, if I'm going to speak about it, I like to think I need to know the business inside it. Whereas when somebody comes to me for consultant on like a CCTV business, like I've had that before and I'm happy enough to solve the problem, but I'm not at the stage where I'm like, I can give advice to everyone on that. Yeah, because he's coming to me usually with like a lead issue or something.
Yeah, I get it. I think that there is something to be said about bringing in the right experts, the right expertise, the right understanding, right? So let's say you had a house and there's water pissing everywhere. You wouldn't then bring in an electrician. Hey, can you come have a look at my plumbing, right? And for you, where you've got the experience as a coach, you've got the experience in fitness, both personally and everything that you've done to study to get there. Same with the fitness business. You've learned the fitness business and then you've taught others, okay, well, here's how you can build a fitness business and get more leads. You've got the experience and you've been there and you've done it. Whereas I do think there's a rise in coaches or mentors that don't actually have experience in the thing at which they're advising on. Thus, it's a very easy sell because you're dealing with people with problems that are stressed. But the reality is they don't have that depth. Whereas when I look at you and those particular businesses, you have that depth. You've been in the trenches, you know?
Yeah, I'm still in the trenches. Like, there's a reason I still run the fitness business. One of the main things is I feel like I shouldn't be able to... If my fitness business is so good, I want to teach other people it, why would I close it down? I do minimal work in it, and it makes me a very large amount of money, pretty much passive at this stage. So I'm like, I never understand why people close down them. If they're like, if you're teaching it, surely it should be a business where it's not a coach. I think that's where a lot of people, like, a business operates without you. Like, my fitness can operate without me. All I need to do is just record some content. And for me, the amount of content I produce now is more about building personal brand that then will feed everything in the long run. Like, it's not just fitness. Like, Joe, if I have 3 million on Instagram, I'm building now YouTube coming next month. Like, once we build all these platforms to a couple mil each, it's like, it'll feed everything. So that's my main focus. And everything trickles down from that. But I do believe, like, not many people have, and this is not me saying like, oh, people aren't doing this or that. I just don't know many people that I've went to and been like, do you make 7 figures profit? Not 7 figures. Do you make 7 figures profit in your fitness business? And it's like, no. And I'm like, right, give me the lessons I can still take from you, but I'm like, I'm looking for that. And I do struggle to find that as well, because a lot of people will chase turnover, not profit, and I'm not about that. Because like I could sit here and go, we make X and we make Y, but I'm like, how much do you take home? Because that's all that matters at the end of the day. Turnover's fucking insane, like, do you know what I mean? It's a bad metric to chase, in my opinion.
Well, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And what you're looking at is building sustainable businesses. But this is what I'm saying to our audience, that Tony doesn't think like a coach, he thinks like an entrepreneur. He's one of the few people that I've seen in the coaching industry that's actually been able to go and build different businesses, but not only build them, but actually get out of them and have them running and build the systems and the operations, the marketing, the sales and all of that to do that. It's quite remarkable.
No, I appreciate that. For a long time, it wasn't like that, though. Do you know, it's a learning game. You're learning bits and pieces from other people. You need nudges from people like yourself in my corner to actually make movements that can be quite difficult, like get out of coaching, because you're like, it's me, it's this, it's that. But like, when you look at it, like, the problem is most people look at businesses like, it's my baby, it's this. And I understand that. That's very tough when you're working from that mindset. I've been like that. But you need to treat it like a business. I don't care in Starbucks who makes my coffee. I would like them to be nice to me. But like, the person who owns the company doesn't have to make it, as long as it's up to scratch. It's a self-limiting belief. And that's usually what holds a lot of people back, is like, and I think that term self-limiting belief, it's just a case of like, people hate that. It's like a buzzword. But it's a case of like, do you care who fixes your plumbing if it's fixed? Like, do you care who delivers my food? Not really. Like, as long as I get the food, then that for me is the main thing. And as you said there, getting it out is the main key. Like, I'm not building a business for it to be a fucking prison. Like, I'm building it so it fuels my life in the way I want. And yes, I have fun and I enjoy working it, but I used to bullshit myself and say I love doing 400 check-ins a week. Like, that's complete shit. I enjoy doing a handful and enjoy working with some people, but not slaughtered. And then I'm not in a position to teach because I haven't solved that problem. Whereas I would happily say, like, how fitness, mentorship, property runs, most people would be like, fuck, that's, well, you know, you've got a good life there, like, you know.
So let's rewind, right? So Tony's a kid.
Ooh.
Tony's a kid. What was he like? Because it's interesting, because a lot of people look at you now and it's like, fucking hell, he's built all these businesses, he's pulled himself out, like, he must have been destined for this. Like, just describe, what was he like?
I'm the exact opposite. What age are we going here? Like,
let's go between 7 and 10.
Yeah,
that 8-year-old Tony.
Struggle with, main thing I remember from that age is like, not really having friends, like, I didn't enjoy school and stuff. Like, I just didn't enjoy that time period. I'd say that's where a lot of my insecurities came from when I was younger. I went to speech therapy for years because I couldn't say full words. I used to say, like, instead of free, like, cold to my mum, I used to say pwee. So like, I would get very frustrated when I was younger because I don't remember a whole lot of it. My one's explained to me. I don't know where I blacked it out, but it's not like anything trauma. Like, my life has been good. These are all first world fucking problems. But like, simple things, like, I would have just got frustrated because people couldn't understand me and struggled to make friends and all that stuff. But like, no, like, I really don't have life figured out. Like, a lot of shit in my personal life and all over the last couple of years has been like a whirlwind too. So there's like,
so we got this kid, he's struggling to speak, he's getting frustrated. Okay.
Yeah. And then, like, as time went on, I just sort of, I wouldn't even say I got my shit together. I would just say you get older and you get a wee bit wiser and you realize, like, everybody has their own troubles. That's why I never am like, oh, I got bullied and I got picked on. Like, everybody gets picked on, everybody gets bullied, everybody has issues when they're with their home life and their family. And somebody dies or somebody's an alcoholic or somebody's, like, everybody has their own trauma. The problem is we think our trauma is special, and then people come on and they talk about how something happened and I'm like, I'm not saying, like, shut the fuck up. I'm just saying, like, everybody gets dealt a set of cards. And everybody else's looks better because you can't see the shit cards. You only see the good ones. And for me, it's just like my mom always says, it's like, you put all your problems in a bowl, you take your own back every time because you know how to deal with them. So that was that. Secondary school was much of the same, really. And then it's just been a slow progression. Like, it's just been like a very steady, a block at a time. That's why I love fitness so much, though, because like, I felt like everything started to fall into place once I actually put effort into something and finally get something back. But it took years.
When did fitness start? How old was you?
Oh, I was like 16. I remember a girl I was seeing, like, pretty much cheated on me. I was really young, like, and I automatically went, it's because I'm not lean or I haven't got abs. I don't know where this came from. I probably saw a magazine or something. So I just, like, went into fitness. But like, during that time period, it wasn't the fact of like, I'm not good enough. It was more so the fact of like the confidence I gained from whenever I actually got abs. And then the fact that I went for something and finally got it, I'd never had that before. And when you put your mind to something, you actually get it. You're like, oh, like, and that flowed into other areas. It's like a first win. And that sort of then built the momentum for everything else. But there's been loads of downs and all too. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we'll get to those. But I'm just following the thread because I'm curious, right? Because if we were to take that 8-year-old Tony, getting picked on, he can't speak and he's frustrated, and we're going to have him stand here and go, that's what you're going to become, what would he say?
He'd be like, I wish I grew taller. He'd be like, I got done in. Yeah, like, Joe, there's certain areas
Did this belief start early? Like, did you always go, I'm going to do something great in the world? Or
no.
That 8-year-old, is he looking at you going, how do you do that?
Oh, no. I only, what's the best way to put this? Like, I only see like so far in front. Like, I never think like 10 years, 20 years down the line. That's not who I am as an individual. Like, to me, like whenever I was in the fire service, I was like, this is great. Like,
so is that where you went straight after school? You went straight into the fire service?
I went to university, became a drunkard, took a load of drugs.
What did you study?
Sports science. It was a weird pivot, but it was because I was in the gym and all, and I was just like, I'll just pick a course I like.
Did you graduate or not?
Yeah, I did graduate, excuse you me.
Yeah. I don't know.
May as well have pissed in a welly, but the degree's that fucking useful. The one thing I did get from it, I can read research really well. That's probably the only thing that I got from it that I think was really worth the money, because like, you can read papers, but if you don't understand the methods, you'll be like, oh, this paper says this is true. But if you can always pick a paper apart by methods, and then it actually means that science isn't as straightforward as it is. It's like, this made them grow this muscle, but I'm like, you didn't monitor food, or you didn't do this, or it's with this type of person, all that stuff. But yeah, took drugs, drinks, didn't really know where I was. Then applied for people won't believe this, applied for the fire service because my friend asked me to apply. I didn't apply because I wanted to. My friend asked me to apply and give him the questions because he always wanted to do it.
So he sent you in as a mole to try and understand.
He sent me into. I was like, I would like to apply, so I was like, right, dead on. He said, if you could give me the questions as you get them as you move through phases, because he was like, I think you'll get through, and so far. And he was like, I've always wanted it. And I was like, no problem. I was like, if I get through, I was like, great. He fell out one of the first rounds, and I just goes, well, I've applied. I'll just continue through it. And then the closer I got to it, the more I was like, there's 8,000 people that applied here. I'm down to the last 200. I sort of wanted it then. I'm a bit of a ballsy fucker too. Like, I remember being on holiday with my girlfriend at the time. We were in Greece, and I got a phone call, and it was like, you've got an interview for the fire service. This is like the last stage, down to 200, 300 or something. Could have been like, I don't know. And they were like, it's tomorrow at 5 p.m. And this was like 3 p.m. in Greece. And she was like, fuck, it's going to be shit that you missed that, like, because you didn't really want it anyway. And I was like, I'll be back in about a day and a half. And she's like, are you actually going? And I was like, yeah. So I had to go home and go for an interview. And I'll never forget, they turned around to me and they were like, one of the questions was, why should you hire me? And I was like, nobody's traveled as far for this. I was like, I flew from Greece and I fly back out tomorrow. And they were like, and I was like, plus the only reason I came is because I'll get the job. I was like, I know I'll get the job. I was like, nobody else put in that shift. I was like, nobody else flew that. Like, I was like, and if that doesn't show like I'm the right person for this, I was like, you'll miss. I remember being very, not arrogant, very confident that I was a better choice. Scored top 28. They wouldn't tell me where I scored. I pressed them because I was convinced I scored, sounds a bit OCD, very high. And majority of people do get in there by family relations. There's a lot of past stuff that goes on. People won't admit that. It fucking does happen. I didn't get any of that. Like, so it gives me a real sense of pride. And then that was another win. So I was like, no matter how much help other people are getting, I can still get there.
At what point did you start believing in yourself? Because there was clearly a jump from being 8 to secondary school to rocking up to an interview and saying, I'm going to get this. Was it in university? Was it earlier than that? Like, where did that start?
I think it comes in phases. Like, so like, it depends what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't believe like confidence is always there 24/7. Like, Joe, you can feel confident on a given day, but it's still having that ingrained in you that it's there. So like, I could show up and look a bit ropey and look a bit off, but I'm still willing to approach the girl even if I don't feel the best. And that in itself gives you the confidence, because people go, that's a very confident person, but you maybe didn't feel like that. But if you're willing to walk over, speak a broken Spanish to some blade, Spanish, and take a punch, people be like, confident person, even if you get shot down, but it's just having that. So it's like taking the flight home alone was a step in confidence there. Do you know what I mean? It's like you do the actions, then it follows.
What do you think the first wave of confidence was where you started?
It had to be fitness.
It was fitness.
It had to be fitness. That's the reason I owe so much to it. Like, and it sounds pure cliche with coaching, but like to me, I'd never got anything go. I felt like nothing went my way until that. And it wasn't external. It was for external, but I got it all internal from it.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time feeling like proud of myself. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I needed external validation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's also the first thing that you can control.
Yeah, very true, because you can't control other people. And it was the first thing where you control all the inputs. It's why, like, I used to play sports in teams. It used to very much frustrate me.
Which sports did you play?
I played Gaelic, I played a bit of soccer, played bits of mixtures of everything. And it frustrated me when it was team sports because you rely on other people versus you control all the effort for yourself in the gym, your food, your everything. Like, you don't rely on anybody for it. So your result is completely dependent on you. You can't pass the buck. And then that's probably where all that came from. But yeah, I wouldn't say like self-belief is always there. I do have like a very, what's the best way, ingrained version that if I want to do something, I can get it. Like,
yeah.
But that's just because
I'm just curious about the kid, right? Because the kid, the child, the teenager, the student had to make a lot of changes to get to where you are now. Because when I'm observing you in sessions and I'm looking inwards, you do have a lot of belief and you do have a groundedness, which is, I'll figure it out. It's fine. You have your wobbles, like everyone.
Yeah.
I have my wobbles, right? But you do have that solidness. So that's why I'm always curious about, well, hang on, where did it start?
I don't know.
Because we've done some inner child work as well to understand that kid and where he came from. Because you're so far away from him.
It's tricky because like I say to people like my friend Daniel or Joseph, like I remember saying about a year and a half ago, being like, at 100K followers, I was like, I'm going to hit the million. Like JJ, one of your clients, even said, like, he remembers bumping into me and being like, what's the goal? And I was like, probably 1 million followers in the next 12 months. And he just was like, that doesn't happen. Like, and I was just like, I'll have it, no sweat. Like, I was like, I'll get it. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I'll have it. And we done it in 11 months. Like, we done it fast. Like, I remember the last month a bit sweaty. Like, but the fact is, like, if you ask any people, like, what was he like when he said that? It wasn't like an if, it was just a when. And it's because, like, solo focused, I feel like there's too many drives in most people's lives. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I was like, that one thing for me didn't solve, but it sorted, like, I wasn't trying to grow a business. I wasn't trying to sort of relation. I was like, this one thing will solve everything else for me if I can focus on a single goal. And then I was like, all my energy goes into that. Like, how do you feel when you've done everything else? But you build yourself up. Like, you can't just go from nothing and build up. It's a steady process of like, can you keep your promise that you're actually going to get up when your alarm goes? Like, I don't snooze. I do cold every day. I do all my little stuff every day that just builds this self-discipline, builds the habits, builds the routine. And it wasn't a case of I woke up one day and it was all there. It's not even all there now. It's like, and I take dips. Do you know what I mean? Everybody does, but it's just a case of like, back against the wall, I back myself. And I think even with the fitness, then firefighting, like running in a burning building, you're like, holy fuck the first time. But then I was like, I have enough faith in myself that I can do this, like, and then you just build it by action over time. Because you go into the first fire, you shit yourself, you do what you can, you're like, fuck, I didn't die, nobody else is dead, I done okay, and then you build up. And that's probably where that pressure,
The ability to deal with pressure,
comes from quite rapidly, because like there's not much more pressure you're going to get than like showing up to a house in the middle of the night, you were half asleep, you were asleep fucking 5 minutes ago, and now you're looking for a body in a house, like trying to drag somebody out. Like, any problem I get in business or something, I'm like, fucking chill out. Like, I'm like, this is not life or death. This is such a first world problem. Like, I'm like, oh, you're making a couple 100K, you're stressed. I'm like, fuck me, mate. Like, I used to pull people out of fires and they're actually on fucking fire. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I think it makes it relative then. Do you know what I mean?
It's a bit of a leveler.
Yeah, it is. And I always relate back to that. Like, I remember working for like, it's only 5 years ago. Like I was coaching, making good money, but like firefighting for 22,000 a year or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Buttons, like, fucking mental, like. But I didn't even spend all that money.
When you was in the fire service, did you have a business mind at that point, or was there a moment where, because to go from a firefighter to, right, I'm going to launch 3 or 4 different businesses isn't normal?
It depends. I think everybody does want more, though. Do you know what I mean? I feel like at that stage, a lot of insecurities drove me of not being good enough. I always felt like I needed more money or more followers or more muscle to like be enough for like other people. And I don't know where that all came from. Like, I really don't. It was probably like not fitting in at school and, you know, feeling like other people didn't accept me. But that's probably just because I don't like the term love myself, but accept myself enough, you know, for like the pros and cons of who I am as an individual. Yeah, but like it's a weird one to dissect, because like it's.
Well, I'm just curious.
You're observing yourself.
It's not a normal thing.
Yeah. But
How many firefighters do you know that go, right, I'm going to build a coaching business, a property business, and a business mentorship, and I'm going to invest in other stuff too?
But I never went near that. Like, that wasn't the goal. The goal was just like, I just took one step at a time.
Answer the question. How many people do you know that have done that?
Zero.
Right. So that's a remarkable thing out of all the firefighters out there, right? But then there must have been a point where you went, you always want more, but there's a way of getting more. Maybe moving your way up in the fire service or whatever. But you decided to start a business. So where did that penny drop?
That business was started before. Like, so like for me, it wasn't like it just dropped all of a sudden to start a business. It just sort of like...
How'd you get your first client in
first client asked me to coach him to help him because he was in a bad state mentally. And then he got a class result. He posted it. I didn't post it. And then I just got inundated with messages. And I was like... I'll help whoever's stuck the most here. So I just picked like 2 or 3 people that were really stuck to give them a hand. I didn't charge them either. So I was just helping people for free. So it's probably more like a hero complex. If you look at it like a case of like, I used to lifeguard, I used to firefight, I used to help people because of that. And then usually the bigger problem is in somebody's life, the more you get paid. So then naturally people were like, I was like, I'm not taking on anybody. And they were like, I'm in that much pain. They weren't saying this directly. I'll pay you X amount. And then when money starts flowing in, you're getting paid for it. You're like, fuck, I'm actually better at this when I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And then when you're getting paid, you're like, you put in more effort. There's more accountability for both of you. People get better results. So yeah, like that's probably where it started. And then I noticed I could give better quality to like my family. Like I remember the first car I bought wasn't for me, it was for my dad. Like being able to buy my mum a car, if there's any ever stresses with bills or something, I'm like to my one's like, don't stress. Like me and my mum have a running joke. Like when she'll not appreciate this, but like if she clips the curb or the car off something, I'm like, don't worry about it. Like you're not paying for it. Like, and like the running joke is, see when she hits the curb, even if I'm not in the car, or Sean will turn to me and go, she just says, sure, Tony will cover it. Like it's a joke, but the thing is, it's also nice because like a lot of people stress about them things that to me don't really matter. Money matters whenever it's an issue, but like right now, like we're all comfortable, and for me, that drive of business probably comes from a root of like taking care of the people that took care of me. Like my phone's behind me, but like my auntie's my screensaver because she had cancer in September. It was like an 18-month wait to get the cancer fucking cut out. I'm just going private. I was like, I got it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, and like people say money doesn't buy happiness. It buys low stress. And for me, my auntie being alive is makes me pretty happy, you know? So I think that's also a mechanism to keep people per. There's a balance, like more doesn't, but I think I've got enough. And then the driving factor isn't me, it's other people. So then I don't run out because I'm not getting more for me. I'm getting more for other people. I have enough. And I think that's something most people will never have. And that's probably why I perform better, because under low stress, you make better decisions. And because it's not out of greed, I just feel like I just actively find it easy. And I think that's why maybe. Yeah.
But it's funny that you bring up low stress.
Yeah.
Because you're now, the student becomes the teacher. Because if you think about where you were in, would have been June last year when we sat down to actually spoke about, are we going to do coaching or not together?
Yeah.
That Tony wasn't operating out of low stress.
No, that was definitely like, that was where I was like all guns blazing. I was like, I need to get to 3 million followers. I was definitely, what's the best way to do it? It was like, I was still operating from that level, but the thing is, I was under like a pressure to do it. I felt like the more I put on myself to do it, the more I would get there quicker. Like, do you know what I mean? Like harder work. Whereas now it's more like a case of like, we sort of identified that I actually perform better under low stress. I can cope with high pressure because the fire service, all the decisions, but I make more money and work less and stress. Like I just live a better quality life and make more money when I work less and stress less, which sounds so strange that you work less, you stress less, you make more money. But we done like sort of that run and like everything's just went so much better from that. But yeah, going back, it was definitely like a speed thing. But sometimes what's the saying? It's like fast is slow and slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
That's it.
Yeah, I nailed that. Like, but that's the thing. Like, the slow is smooth and the smooth is fast, and that's why I found out. Like, the smoother I am, it sounds like I'm shaving private body parts, but like the faster I go. Yeah, Joe, we'll try and keep things PG here. Like, the wolf will not come out. Yeah, and I think that's the thought process of it for me. It's like I can make better moves now on the chessboard instead of being on the board. Versus, I felt like for a long time, the more I whip myself, the more that happens, the more money I'll make. And in reality, like, I actually make so much more and work far less now, and it's just a better balance. And I even enjoy what I do far more, do you know?
Well, when we sat down that first time, and I was coming in pretty blind, right?
Yeah.
Because we hadn't spoken about the way you think, the way in which you feel, the way in which you perform. We hadn't spoken about upbringing or anything like that. I was coming in fact, it was quite random. He's like, right, can we chat about coaching at some point? I went, okay, let's go do lunch. And then we started talking through it. And what I saw was a guy that was performing so well on old energy. And what I mean by that is you were built on high pressure, high stress, clinging, burying yourself into the floor every single day. And that takes you up to a certain level insofar as performance. But that could only take you so far. And as we were starting to dive into, well, where does Tony want to go? He said, I want to have more fun. I went, tell me more about that. I want to enjoy things a little bit more.
Yeah.
Have less pressure, less stress. I actually want to enjoy what I do. But there was almost a hesitation a little about, if I pull back, will it not work? If I pull back, how things will change in the business. Whereas now you sat on the other side of that. Where do you see that bigger leap, that bigger shift?
Oh, it's a case of like whenever I contact you, it wasn't that things were going per. I was actually mindful of the trajectory I want to go to. I don't know anybody else that's been there. And I was like, in my thought process, I needed like key people in the right areas. So like I've got the likes of like Helmy, Daniel, Joe, Yep, Stephen, Joe, my sister, my family. I have a lot of people who have my back and have my best intention, but I was like, I need something external that's also just another cornerstone in the building. Just that the more people you get around you that you actually trust, that's key, and then isn't afraid to work on your personal side with you. So that for me was a key thing, because like I wasn't looking to have like just 1 million Instagram followers and make a bit of money. I was like, I want to go quite large scale here over the next couple of years. So I was just like, and I think if anything, the self-belief I had, especially from going from like where I was to where I am now, like I've almost got 3 million on all platforms and starting YouTube now, and we're going to go full in. It's like, I've no doubt I'll get there, but it's how much fun I have along the way. And that was for me a key point. And I am good at having fun, but I was just like, I know life can be better. Do you know what I mean? There's always more levels, and it's not putting more pressure on myself. It's just like, how do I make sure I enjoy the journey more? Because to me, like hitting fucking whatever amount of followers, it's not really that important. It's yes, the journey's key, but also how you feel along it. And I think people think like, oh, it's the journey and this and that. Like it's all bullshitty words. The people that are around me are the most important thing. It's not the destination, it's not the journey, it's the company, like the whole way. And like you are also your main company, so you're miserable along the way. It's a shit out of time. So I was having fun, but I was like, how do I crank the gears and go up another level? Do you know what I mean? So like everything is just better, because I grow faster, I make more, I work less when I'm having fun, which is, it sounds the exact opposite, but for me, I free flow better. Do you know what I mean? Pressure just never, for me, never does anything. You work out of scarcity. Like I worked off a lot of like, me and my friends joke around and call it dark energy, a lot of like bad breakups, trauma, shit that doesn't go right in your life. And then you're like, if you need that during a set or something, you kick in it. But like running off that fuel all day and all night is a nightmare. Like,
and that's where you were burning up a hell of a lot of energy, was just using the wrong fuel.
Yeah.
And that fuel, whilst you can leverage it, and it's a good thing to leverage it when needed, it's not going to enable you to breathe and have fun and relax and bring your guard down and just enjoy what you do. And that's what I sensed. Our project was all about taking you from good to great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's also using the fuel as a different time point. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with tapping into that when you need it.
You need it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like different running off like dark energy 24/7 versus like a mixture. And like majority of the time now I'm quite like focused on like abundance. I'm not really stressed. I'm not thinking about anything I've done really in the past anymore. Whereas I would have spent a lot of time like using that, like I would have been like, I should have knew that. That's a lesson. I should have known that. I could have done better here. All these things, and then that was fueling me to be better now. Versus now, it's very much like if I make a mistake or something happens, I sort of just go, right, well, what's the lesson? That's the lesson, right? Let's not make that happen again and move forward. It's just very quick. Because like you would have seen, like over the last couple months, like I've had turmoil online, I've had other issues, and like I'm very quick to just learn the lesson and move forward, because like everybody's only living life the first time. And it's like, I'm only going to learn if I'm not emotional.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the online turmoil, right? That was a big thing.
Mental, yeah.
That caught you off guard. So,
Of course.
if you could paint a picture, because some people be listening to this, they go, "Oh, like what happened?"
Yes.
What happened?
So pretty much a video was posted that wasn't fucking really true, and then the whole internet started turning me, because obviously I'm quite large, but like nobody would write to me for like, what actually happened? Was this fabricated? Was this what happened? Was what part of this is true? What part of it's perception? Because like you'll have their side of the story, my side of the story, the truth's somewhere in the middle. And the thing is, but without that, it's like, it's much easier to believe whatever you want rather than what really happens. So for me, it's like a case of like, I could come on and be like, this was wrong, that's right, this is wrong. But then you're just starting to cause controversy. And it's a case of like, people that believe that straight off the bat, to me, shows me who they are. And I don't need to justify who I am to anybody else. So I'm actually really happy because me and you had a conversation about this. It also showed me like there's a lot of people I talked to who turned back, which for me, no issue. It just shows me that like that's actually like, whereas if I hear that about somebody, like if I heard that about my friend Daniel, I'd be like, this can't be right. Like, what's the true story in this? Whereas like I didn't get a whole lot of that. And there was a lot of people who knew the truth message me after I put up a reply story. Like, people watched me get crucified online, and there was nobody that came to save. There was a few friends, don't get me wrong, there's close quarters, but like nobody stood up and said the truth that knew it. Nobody posted a video. People fed it. People made other stories on it without knowing the full truth, spread it. It showed me how toxic and how much work a lot of people need to do. Because I also thought, like, would I have believed this if this came out about somebody? Would I have judged it straight away? It's like when you hear something, I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but when you hear something dark about a celebrity, you only hear one side. And because it's an underdog story, like, do you really want to believe, like, I'm in the right in this situation because, Joe, I make X amount of money, I have X amount of followers, I have all this stuff that from the outside looks good. So automatically you're like, yes, a bit of dirt. Let me fucking jump on this and let's what, like, nobody like being very transparent. People love to see somebody rise. They love to see them fall more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how big was like the Will Smith stuff where he slapped Chris Rock? Like, as soon as there's a bit, it's like fucking all over it, or any scandals. But it's gonna pass, and it's one of these things where like there's lessons in that for everybody. But like, really good examples, like, I'm really proud of it, but like, I just met the person in person. I didn't be like, let's go back and forth over this. You've said one video, I've said one video. Just meet me in person and just tell me what you have to your face, because I think a lot of people will hide behind online. If anybody has a conversation and their actual issue is with me, just meet me in person. Say it to me. Like, I'm a human. I'm going to have a conversation. Whereas like, if you post something online, it's for online, it's not for you.
It's for the show versus the reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Whereas like, if I have a problem with somebody, like if something's wrong with my like ex in my life, I don't go to the online game about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's not what, for me, it's like it's just a different ball game. But like, you can see, like, there's two camps there as well. So like, there's the camp that believe that automatically, you're happy with it, and then there's the camp that believe me automatically. It just splits the internet more. But like, I remember people writing to me being like, fuck, it's funny because like, yeah, I was like, fuck, this is going to take a big hit. But like, really good examples, like, people were like, oh, your Instagram following's going to go away. Like, I gained 40,000 followers that week. Like, I did not gain 40,000 followers of people who hate me. Now, I probably churned so many because people were like, that's made my mind up. But like, I'm a Marmite individual. I do not need you to like me. Like, that is not why I'm putting earth for this. You either like me, you don't like me. Either way, like, I don't give a fuck. I like me, and that's all that matters. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, I know the truth. I know my characters. I know my morals. I don't need to come online and over-justify it. Do you know what I mean? It's just embarrassing. But yeah, like, it's one of the things where like, there's lessons in that even for me. There's lessons in everything.
What were the lessons that you took from that situation?
Oh, not like, even though with firefighting, I'm used to responding quick. Dear breath. The world can wait for you. Like, people are waiting on my reply. I took 4 days on purpose because I wanted to see how everybody edit, who came to show up, who helped me, who didn't, what people say, how the market responds, and also what was best to reply to that, because you go into like a fight or flight mode as well. Like, do you respond? It's emotional. Your facts aren't correct. You're coming at it from an emotional standpoint, or you coming at it with facts. And that's why I came at it with facts. I actually left a lot of facts out that were personal stuff, because I just feel like that's not what it's about. Like, you know, like, I'm not that sort of individual. I'm just like, it'll be this 1 month, people make up their mind, next month it'll be somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. But like, in 6 weeks it'll not matter. So why does it matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just too laid back. I'm just like, talk to me in person if you have an issue. But that's the problem. Most people won't do it because anxiety.
At the time, it was a challenge because somebody's challenging your character, they're challenging your identity, they're challenging, you know, this is what I believe.
Morals, yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a saint or you could be the worst sinner, devil in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
And somebody challenges who you are and makes assumptions or judgments or claims against who you are and your character, that's going to hurt anyone. And
of course.
What amazed me was your ability to bounce back from that and handle it in a way where you weren't overly reactive, you weren't pulling the trigger on decisions or sending crazy messages or whatever. You're able to hold it still. How did you hold that ground and hold it still before jumping to the reflex of reacting versus responding?
Yeah, because you're going to see, the thing is, when we were used to dealing with, like, we used to in the fire service, when we rock up to an instant, you just breathe for a second, you just take a second and breathe, because you always make a better decision. You rush into something, you forget something, you fuck something up, and then you create a decision that's irreversible and you'll regret it. Whereas like everybody can just wait. Like, there's never an emergency on anything. Like, you always make like, if you rush something, it's always a mess. It's always a mess. Good things take time, and for me to make the best decision in that, you just need a moment to think about it. You also need the right people in your corner. Like, I had you, I had the team. Like, also going like, this is too personal. Like, what I'm going to do this. What's your take? Like, you make a vote and just pass off the reins. And that for me is a really easy thing as well. Whereas like a lot of people are like, it's my name, it's this, it's that. And I'm like, to me, I know who I am. I know my name. I know everything about that. And it's a case of like, once you know that, you're like, I don't really care. Like, massively. I'm just like, you just handle the business side of things, and if anybody wants to believe that, they don't know me. It's, yeah, I just think it's a case of just like, you build up like tolerance to stuff like that. Like, you can't have my lifestyle without having that. Like, nobody else in the fitness probably has as highly profitable, making as much fitness. There's people, but like not many. Same with the mentorship, same with the property. Like, I'm going to have a target in my back, 100%. Like, it's part of the game. It's a double-edged sword. Like, you can't scale everything that quickly and change your life that fast in 4 years and not come with the turmoil. That's one of the reasons I got you in the corner, because there'll be more of that. There's going to be more of it all. Like, but that's fine, because I'll take all the good for the little bit of bad. You can't have good without bad. Like, it's like, what's the cost of it all? And the cost is sometimes you're going to get punched in the gut. Sometimes you're going to get stabbed here. You're going to get punched there. Like, you can't, it's never all sunshine and rainbows. Do you know what I mean? It's like the comfort of a 9 to 5 causes maybe the friction of you not seeing your full potential. But then you get all the good.
Yeah, you get the safety.
There's nothing wrong with that. But the same as if you push really hard and you get what you want, there's still a cost in it. You just don't sometimes know the cost.
The unintended consequences of, it worked out, or it didn't work out. But the way that you've handled this is, I talk this a lot about, particularly when you get young guys that are like 19, 20, 21, and they scale so quickly, is they experience something called altitude sickness. A lot of people experience altitude sickness in a number of different ways. So altitude sickness is your business or your following or your success or your sporting success grows at such a speed that you weren't quite ready. And just like if you could put yourself at the top of a mountain without climatizing properly, you start to feel sick, you start to feel shaky, you start to go, whoa, right? And that's often when people hire me to come in and go, right, let's just calm the ship down and let's actually understand that. Whereas with you, you've handled the altitude sickness really well. And from what I'm picking up from this conversation, it does sound like your time in the fire service has, I would say, helped you lay a foundation of resilience and understanding and thinking that helps you deal with that.
Yeah, I think it's just everything's a first world problem. It's like, for example, I would have been triggered. I remember somebody posted like my tax return from the UK like last year or something, maybe the year before, last year, and they were like, this boy's a liar, he's made £0. And I was like, I would have been like, oh my God, everyone's going to think I'm fraud. And then I was like, anybody with 2 cents is going to know that a real businessman isn't going to sit and be like, oh, Joe, here's my accounts. This is the company. This is that. It's the way the work, like my company's not there. It's like anybody with 2 brain cells put that together. Whereas before I would have been like, oh my God, this is a personal attack. This is that. And like, it just, if people are stupid enough to believe stuff like that, it's just like, Jesus Christ, mate, like it's actually embarrassing. But like, that's the way the game works. And as you said, it's like time in the fire service, time in that space. But it's also time like working on yourself. It's not just that. It's like, there's plenty of people who become a firefighter. There's plenty of people who become a policeman, do really demanding jobs that are taxing, that still have the emotional maturity of a 7-year-old. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's, or they haven't done any work on their actual issues or their problems, that they don't see as problems. You know, like if I was getting triggered by all that, like if I got triggered by that situation, why am I getting triggered? because I'm not a good person, because of this, because of that. Like I'm emotional, whereas I wasn't very non-emotional because I was like, there's nothing to be triggered by. Like I just need to see it from his perception. You see this, and you do that. Versus like if somebody calls me, I don't know, somebody gives me shit about, like I think I've got one of my ears is like a little bit pointy. If somebody says, oh, but like you're like, or somebody goes, pointy ear, and like I get triggered and like bark back, or somebody says a nickname and I bark back. There's something there that's like, that's got you, like that's true. It's like if someone's
held up a mirror to a soft spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like whenever somebody used to call me short when I was younger, and you're like, oh that hurt. But it's like, it's fucking also true. Like I'm only like 5'7", something like. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but that's an insecurity you haven't dealt with then. Versus like character and moral for me as well is a very easy one to deal with, because I'm like, I'm a pretty good person by standards of life. So like, yeah, it's just dealing with it. But you get that, as you said, altitude sickness is something like, it's part and partial. Like you can't have good without the bad. It's in everything. Like if you're dating a beautiful woman and she comes with one or two issues, it's like, it's part and partial. Same with like dating me or seeing somebody else. Like everybody comes with their, like nobody's perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. You can't have good without bad. You can't have bad. And that makes me appreciate the good more, because you see the bad, but you still work through it, or you like the person for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, when the world happens and you get feedback and people try and take you down, or they try and send you, because like that's one thing I don't like about the internet at the moment, is there seems to be just this culture now which is attacking people for how they look, how they present, or the way in which they show up, and it's become almost like this bullying, like even our good mate Ben Heron, what a lovely guy, would give you the shirt off of his back. Very, very great coach at what he does. Amazing person, right? And then somebody made a video saying, don't listen to this guy's shit content. He looks like a sparrow's kneecap, and he's skinny, and he's this, and he's that. And like, there does seem to be this negativity that's flying around the internet, where people are just trying to bully people.
Yeah, of course.
Pick on people.
It's because you're more people are more responsive to negative. Like there's a reason like everything in the news is negative. It's the reason I don't have, like, people won't believe this, but like I don't have social media on my phone. Like I don't.
But that's new.
Yeah, exactly.
When did that come in?
Came in a couple of weeks back. I was just like, after everything, I just do like audit checks at times. Like, I don't look at like how I can be more productive. I just look at like what's adding to my life and what's not. And I was like, I think I'm just scrolling too much. And I was like, I'm just gonna delete it. Like, so I deleted it like a month back, a little bit longer maybe now. And it's like, fuck, it's been great. Like, you know, I didn't really use it before that anyway. Like I have somebody else post. I'll pop in on it to do DMs on my laptop or something. Just say I'm trying, like, talking to somebody or whatever. Like, I'll pop in the laptop, but nobody scrolls on the laptop. Like, you sit on the couch and you scroll, and time goes. I would notice I come in from the gym, eat food, scroll. I also notice now a lot of the time, like, when I sit down and I'm eating, and like people will sit down eating, they'll just sit and scroll while they're eating, and I'm sitting there like very present, and you would automatically go, oh, he's scrolling, I'll scroll. Yeah. And it's like people then bypass it and they go, oh, but like this person might message me here, this person might I'm like, well, I have lower anxiety, better mood. I have so much free time now as well. Like I have so much time. Like, I mean, like I'm always like, fuck, like what do I do? Come 8:30, 9, I'm like, oh, I might as well get in bed to get up, because like I'll watch a bit of telly, or I'll go for a walk, or go for a meal. But like, I feel like my personal connections with you and family, friends is much better. I'm much more present. Like I only go on my phone to use WhatsApp now, and it's like separated business now. But yeah, like no Facebook, no Instagram, no anything like that. It's very, very good mentally. Like I think people make excuses for the reason they really have it. Being honest, like you can post everything online on your laptop, and then you don't need social media in your pocket, in my opinion. And that's coming from somebody who is like playing that game. Like if you want to be wealthy, you create, you don't consume.
Yeah. So if you actually look at the way in which have you read a book called Hooked?
No.
By Nireyal. I can never pronounce his name. I was introduced to this book, I'm going to say 10 years ago now. And it basically explains how people get addicted to habit-forming products like social media. So the way that it works is there's 4 key stages. First, you have an internal trigger. So an internal trigger might be you're feeling a little bit anxious, or you're feeling bored, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or whatever's happening there. Then you have an external trigger. So for your phone, it's ding, or it's or whatever, right? If you're a gambling addict and the internal trigger is you're anxious and you're afraid or you're bored and you're walking down the street and you see a sign which says betting parlor, right? That's an external trigger.
Yeah.
So then what happens is we then have an action. So an action will happen and it creates a variable reward. So they did studies on rats to show that if you give a rat cocaine water every time it goes for water, it wouldn't overdose on the cocaine. Whereas if you would make it a variable reward, so one time it goes in, it gets the cocaine, and then it comes in another time and there's no cocaine. The next time there isn't, and you mess with that system. They consumed a hell of a lot more cocaine, and they did the same with cheese. They ate a lot more cheese than the other rats did. Their brains went mental, right? So this is what's happening in these loops. You have an external trigger, internal trigger, boredom, right? Think about it. It's so easy to pull out your phone and start looking at Instagram when you're bored, waiting for the lift, right? Or an external trigger will happen, ding, notification. Oh, cool. Variable reward. I've gone in here to look at a message, but actually I'm just going to scroll, right? And you see boring reel, funny cat video, dopamine everywhere, boring reel, amazing video again, boring reel. Oh my God, this is amazing. So that it's now creating this loop which associates, when I feel anxious and I'm bored and I'm in this situation, I should go and check the dopamine box, which is the phone, right?
Yeah.
To then create that. And the final part is the investment part. So the more that you go around in that cycle, the more you've invested in that cycle, the more the brain defaults to just scrolling. And there's another part, right? Which is, think about it. Every time you post online or you adjust your profile, right? You get thousands of posts or you've sent thousands of messages. You then become attached to an account.
Yeah, absolutely. Your identity,
So that doesn't get easy to put down. And this has been figured out by neuroscientists, by Facebook, by Instagram, and they have all built all of these mechanisms to keep you trapped in that loop. So the reason people can't put the phones down is because you've literally, it's so unfair. It's you versus neuroscientists and digital marketers and psychologists and all these people manipulating the dopamine system to keep you looped in. And what you've done is you've gone, right, you see that little dopamine, I don't know,
itch,
no, what is it? What's it called when a drip? IV drip, right? You're taking out a dopamine IV drip. You're going, no, actually, I'm not going to play that game anymore. And I'm not surprised you feel better. It makes a big difference.
I've noticed even things like, for example, I would be very fussy with people I date and all now. It's like that, or people I spend my time with. But for example, I've been out on dates before where not in the first date, but maybe third date. I just notice they're scrolling, and I'm just like, this is not the person for me. I'm just like. I don't want to sit at night, or I don't want to be in a relationship or have kids where the person's on their phone all the time. I'm like, what are you, 12 years old? But it's you walk outside, you walk into a cafe, everybody's head's down.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong,
weird.
some people are working and stuff, but fuck me. If you don't, I don't have social media, so I don't scroll. I'm listening to podcasts maybe, or I'm sitting there doing a bit of work, but I still have the habit, and I'll be honest, when I'm on my laptop, I'll stop every so often and just pick up my phone, and I'll be like, fuck, I can't do anything. I'll just put it back down and away, but at least I'm there, you know? For me, it's just one of these things where I'm the standard. It sounds odd, but I don't want to say it, but it's just you're losing so much of your life, and it's just people are happy with that, though. It's escapism to an extent. I was happy with that for a long time, but you're also, as you said, feeding anxiety, overwhelm. Very easy for me to get an ego boost into Instagram. If I have 1.3 million on Instagram and I fucking DM some girl, she's gonna reply. It's an ego boost because I'm like, wow, who's fucking Tony Big Dick here? But obviously, because you're coming at her with a big gun, versus approaching somebody in the street, having a conversation, you're working on who you are, because social media is not reality, but people do get that very, very mixed up. Yes, fair enough, it's status, it's authority, it is a symbol of wealth and stuff, so it helps. But to me, I'm I don't want it to be where I turn around and go, at the end of my life and go, oh, do you know, I should have scrolled less. Because I think people won't say that. They'll go, I should have done more of my time, or should have made the most of it. But you know, if you spend 2 or 3 hours a day, you know, over time it adds up. And it sounds so monotonous, and people hate this conversation, but they'll justify it I did for a long time, why I need it. And you're no special. If I fucking live off it and I don't have it, that speaks volumes. I just don't see it as necessary anymore. But the people I want to be around don't either, you know. Don't get me wrong, I love a meme as much as the next person. I fucking love a meme. If I could just get memes, but the problem is the memes keep me on.
Yeah.
So I can just have fun. Yeah. Joe, without it, it's too much telly. Too much of anything's toxic, but the TV and Netflix stuff, usually you can get a good balance. It's fucking social media, as you said, it's just toxic. Like,
I think one day we will look at, you know, when you see pictures now of like 6-year-olds smoking cigarettes, and we're like, oh my God, why is a 6-year-old smoking a cigarette? Why did those idiots at the time in the early 1900s give cigarettes to 6-year-olds, right? I think we're going to have exactly the same thing with mobile phones in 50 years' time. We'll be thinking, why did we give 8-year-olds iPads and phones? Because the damage that it's doing to that child's neurology and also their perspective of what the world is it's absolutely insane. And I think there will be a big revolution. This is why I tell, you know, you guys to go on digital detoxes. In fact, I went to India the other week. Didn't bring my work phone. Was completely logged out. I'm not joking. After a week of no devices and emails and working, like you see colors differently. You smell stuff differently. You're just so present. Whereas now, you're just ripped out of that presence.
Yeah, it's like a lot of men won't admit it, but like how often is masturbating or watching porn talked about? And it's like one of these things where it's like, it's more taboo than even scrolling. But like, do you ever say to somebody, like, I think, Joe, you're probably using your phone too much? It's like I would have even hyper defensive. I'm not my phone that much. You're on your phone that much. And you're like, Jesus Christ, mate. Like, Joe, you're not saying that, but I'm like, if I'm speaking to somebody, I prefer, like, don't even have the phone. Like, at my family home, like, my phone never goes near the dinner table. Like, it's just not on the dinner. If I'm having a meal with somebody, especially that, or a conversation or tea, like, it's not, like, in sight. It's different if we're having a work meeting or something. I might keep it and take a note or two. But like very, very transparent about that. And I think like the porn is a big one too for people like men. Like I used to be stuck in that trap where you're like, Joe, it's been 2 weeks and Joe, I'm just releasing. But like I talk to some dudes and like when you talk openly, they're like, fuck every day. Like, and you're like, fuck, that's toxic. Like, and people don't realize like the time that's lost there, the time that's lost scrolling, they'll deny it. And then people are like, how are you getting so much done? And all I'm like, because like, I have fucking nothing else to do but get shit done. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, if I can't scroll, I can't like. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hit quite large steps a day. I clear my head. But like, it's looking at your life and going, what habits am I avoiding taking responsibility for? It's normal, Joe. I'm not in a relationship. Like, fuck up. Like, stop being a pussy. Like, but I'm very like much.
Well, that's your philosophy.
Take control of your life.
Yeah, and I think
doesn't work for everyone.
That your philosophy is very much all in or all out.
I just hate the fucking the mentality of like, oh fuck, I just hate the wet lettuce mentality. Like I just think it's went too well. Like I'm probably a bit like, if you had to go right and left wing, like I'm probably a bit right, but I feel like the pendulum swung way too far left. Where like you could be, excuse my friend, like you could be a chair, you could not do anything and it's okay. And I'm like, absolutely fine. But like, how do you feel? Do you really, like if you really are honestly with yourself, like do you feel better? And then some people are too hard on themselves and like they whip themselves and I would have been like that person. But like at the same time, like I'm not in shape out of insecurity and because I'm alpha. It's more so a case of like, I just know I feel better that way. It's right for me. I think people walk like, you sit somewhere in the line, you have to decide where you want, whereas a lot of people are listening to social media and they're trying to get, it's like the person who says like, just do better tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But if you don't do better tomorrow, you're putting a plaster over a bullet wound. And in 4 years, you're still going to be overweight. You're still going to have a shit business. You've pacified yourself to not give you what you truly want. And that for me is what happened to me for a long time. And that's why like I sort of dislike that. Now, if you cope with that and that's how you want to live and you're honest with yourself and you're like, that is fulfilling, then you're golden. Don't. For me, that was like, I'm taking you down a fucking fairy tale that leads fucking nowhere.
Well, that's if we look at your philosophy, which is, hey, we're going to do an agreement, but I'm going to fucking keep you to your agreement. And that's how that's how you work. The agreements that you make to yourself,
exactly,
you keep them, and that's
what's a promise.
You. Yeah. When you make a promise, you keep your promises, right?
And always like you never break them. Like
and what I see is you take that through with everything.
Yeah,
you take that through absolutely everything, which is we make a promise, we make agreement, we're going to do it. And whether that's in coaching, you've asked me to hold you accountable to this agreement, to this promise.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to stick to that and we're going to make it work. Some people say they want that, and then when it happens, they don't like it, and they don't react very well. And you got to really think about it. I think this is quite important for mentors or coaches or whatever, is when you go to them, you got to actually ask, you got to let them know what standard upon which you want to be held to. I have clients, Tony's one of those clients where I can chop his head off with a sword when it comes to feedback and go, I don't even have to ask him. But I've got other clients where, I can just go, Tony, you ready for a piece of feedback? You go, come on in. And then I'll hit you a right hand. You go, yeah, that's fair enough. And that's it. Whereas there's other clients that prefer the feather. Well, I'll just sort of pad that for, make it a bit more gentle, a bit more like, and you got to be a bit more careful in how you word things.
Yeah.
Whereas you're a sword guy. You are, if we're going this direction and this is the agreement and this is the promise we've made, not only am I going to stick to it, you're going to stick to it. And I think when you hire those types of coaches or mentors, you got to realize that's what's coming.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear. Like the way I think about it is I'll tell you what you don't want to hear now, because in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, you'll thank me for it. I wish more, like the reason I wish more people done that for me sooner. Like I'd be where I am now 5 years earlier. I wouldn't have had massive relationship breakdowns. I wouldn't have had issues in my personal life, issues with family. If people were just actually honest, like that is really what I am. Like I'm brutally honest. I'll give you my honest take on it. And I'll tell you what I would do, and it might not be what you want to hear. Like, and I don't apologize one bit, because you fucking need to hear it. Like, it's just a case of like, if somebody's not willing to do that for you, they don't have your best interest at heart. Like, it's like really good example is like, if I hit my sister when I'm younger, and my mum then hits me, does my mum really want to hit me? No, I'm a fucking weak. But like, it's good for me in the long run. It teaches me where the line is, what to do, how I move forward, how I become a better person. So like, I do believe a little bit of pain in the short term always saves you in the long term. Like always, every single time. But the problem is nobody wants the pain. Like I don't even want the pain. But the thing is, I think I grew to that stage where like with you, I'm like, give me it now. And like,
that's one thing you lean towards, right?
Yeah.
Is you're like, give me an honest take, mate. Am I being X or Y? And I'll go, yeah, but actually, here's why it's worse. And you're like, fuck. But you always take it.
Yeah.
I know that I can hit you with a full-blown psychological, emotional right hand, and I know you'll take it on the chin, and then you'll listen. Whereas there's other people where I know I hit that, and they're not going to like it, and they're going to throw their toys out the pram, or they're going to run away, or they're going to go, I can't handle it, or they'll externalize. That's not my fault, it's your fault, it's this person's fault. Whereas you've got that built into you. And I think there's a couple of different things. I think firefighting does that. I think there's an element there.
Boyish, yeah, manish.
Business does that. For me, I learned that in boxing, right?
Yeah.
The feedback was really simple. If you keep dropping your left hand, you're going to get knocked the fuck out, son.
Yeah.
Right? Or when I used to get hit with a big shot, like sometimes my old coach Martin, he'd stop and he'd say, what I fucking tell you about peeking your left hand? And he used to give me like full sword feedback. And then when I went into software sales, same thing. Product shit, pitch was shit, your shit, market shit, competitors better than you, and it is just sword feedback. So if you're listening to this, there'll be some people that are going, that excites me, like it scares me, and I don't want it, but that I'm leaning towards that. Then find the people around you that can give you the sword feedback. But if you are someone that's a lot more sensitive, then you do need somebody that knows, maybe not a sword, but a little dagger. And if it's not a dagger, like a little hammer.
Don't come to me like.
But for you, that's not going to work.
Chance.
You are full sword, full hammer, you're getting it.
I struggle to... I've never been like that, so I don't understand it. I'm not going to pretend I do. I just don't understand that thought process. Whereas I know other people generally do have that, and they understand it, and they're better fits for you. That is not what I'm about. You want to get from A to B in the fastest time possible. I'll get you there. And I'll do it the best way I can. Like I'll do it how I know what served me, what does best. But like there's 100 ways to skin a cat. That's why like coaching, mentoring, business, all of it is like who you think you're going to respond to best. Do you know what I mean? Like as you said, you're learning to coach me differently than somebody else, and all these things come into play. But it's like what works for one person won't always work for another. But for me, I'm like, that's the only way that it worked for me. So I can't teach you any different. Yeah. It's like I do put extreme accountability on people. Like I do.
Yeah, you do. That's your thing, and that's not only led to your own results, that's led to the results of your clients.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is always going to be some people, and the thing you're experiencing with scale, right, is let's say you get 1% of your customer base complain, right, but you've only got 10 customers, like that's not going to touch the size. Then you get to 100, okay, and you get 1 complaint. Then you get to 1,000, then you got 10 complaints. Then you get to 10,000, now you got 100 complaints. Now you can go, oh my God, I'm getting all of these complaints, especially with extreme accountability, right? There's going to be people that go, that's not fair, this is not right, they said this, or you've done this, or this, or this, or this. But the reality is, you've just given them, well, look, I've told you, you're going to get extreme accountability, and that's what you're going to sign up for. So as you start to scale, it gets harder because people think they can handle that. I'm tough. I can figure that out.
No, people don't handle that at all. How it works, no fucking chance. No way do people... Like, most people don't handle that well. But, like, then the thing is, it's like... if you are truly ready for like hard truths and stuff, even with me, it's like whenever people come at me with hard truths, I always am grateful for it in like a year's time. I'm like, fuck, thank fuck, because it moves the needle forward the most. It's just that plaster versus bullet wound scenario for me. Like, I'm like, fucking give me full throttle here. Like, I've had that. I wish people done that sooner. I just wish people, especially in my personal life. I feel like business, it's much easier. I feel like personally, a lot of people need like an honesty thing, and I wish somebody had done that for me a lot sooner. It would have saved me so much pain.
Well, that's one thing that you're good at, is you can take a right hand, you go, oh, Fez. Like, you're very good at putting your ego on the side and looking at things objectively and going,
Yeah.
well, hang on a minute. Does Kieran, or does this person in my world, or even a stranger on the internet, do they have a point? And when you can look at that and you go, yeah, they do have a point. That's not about, I need to assert that I'm this person or this person or this person. It's going, well, hang on, like, what is the end objective? Be better.
Yeah,
does this feedback take me towards that? Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's like I was seeing a girl for a while there, and I remember she brought up an issue that, like, we're not like, best way is brought up an issue that I was doing, like something that was like she didn't like, and I was like, thank fuck. I was like, the fact you actually bring it forward, I was like, this is a gift. And she was like, I can't believe you're actually glad. And I was like, yeah, because I was like, you're not sweeping under the carpet. I was like, this makes everything so much better, because I was like, you will like, Joe, premeditated expectations, or sorry, what is it? Unspoken expectations or premeditated resentments. It's like that thought process of just clear communication. Give me the right hook now to save me a knockout in 3 years. Like, that is so good in every aspect, in business, in friendships, in relationships. It's like the biggest green flag I can ask for, because, and people are like, I can't believe you actually want the shit. And I'm like, no, the minute something annoys you, just tell me, because I can work through it. I don't take it offensively. Yeah. I take nothing personal, because somebody having a problem with something I do is their perception. I'm not saying I'm going to ignore it, but I don't take it like, well, like, it's, I'm just like, right, well, how do I work around this? And then you sort it out. But like, yeah, it's like, I have no problem. Like, throw a right hook if you want. Like, I've got a strong jaw. Like, I'll be able to take it. Like,
so my mentor, Ron, fucking hell. Like, I've had so many meetings where he's just buried me. Like, absolutely cut me in half with feedback, with observations, with just, I've worked with him now for 7 years. So he's got 7 years of data to tell me, you're doing that fucking thing again. And I'm like, ugh, and it hurts. But every time he cuts me in half, whenever I rebuild myself, it's always so much better. Always so much better.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you don't have the people in your corner that can do that for you, then essentially what you get is a renter friend. Somebody that's going to massage your ego.
Exactly.
Someone that's like, yeah, you're doing great. Like, well done. And, you know, sometimes you need an arm around the shoulder. And I do believe that you need to praise your clients when you see,
of course,
that's fucking great. Give me more of that. But by the way, you committed to that. That hasn't happened.
Or yes.
You've dropped the ball on this. So up your fucking game. You
don't just whip people constantly. Like, there's a balance. Like, it's like, celebrate the wins, get the forward momentum. But it's like, if somebody needs calling their bullshit, it's like that sort of, it's sort of the middle ground. Yeah. Everybody's like that. You can't just work off one sense. Like, dude, what else did you want to dive into here? Like, is there anything else topic wise? You give me the rundown. Like, if you want to go off on anything.
Well, a lot of people will be thinking, why is Tony working with a mental performance consultant? Why has he got somebody on his mind? Like, what do they even talk about? Like, what's even coming up? So, like, if you was gonna just give him a little peek inside the door, like, well, here's why, and here's what we work on, and here's how it's helped me. What peek around the door would you say? Straightforward.
The reason I got you in my corner in particular, or like I was looking at mental performance, is just, there's always more you can crank out. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it's like, where I want to go, I'll not get there without that pillar. So a lot of people feel they can do it themselves, but like, realistically, like, if LeBron James, Tiger Woods, like Ronaldo, like, they're not just doing it all themselves. And like, I'm not relating myself to LeBron James or Ronaldo. I can't believe you said that. But like, to go to a very high level in anything, you need the right coaching. You need the right people in your corner. So it's like, I'm very grounded with family, good friends, good people looking out for me. Adding another foundation, like another block, never does you any harm. And I don't know anybody that's been there, so I'm still learning what I need. But like, you've been instrumental. Like, I pretty much like double or triple my income in the last 6 months. I've never worked less. I have a better personal life. I'm definitely a better human. But like, I work less, my stress is low, I make more money, like everything's moving forward for me, and I don't see anything slowing down. Like I've, as you said, like self-belief, but like that was never my issue, but it was a case of like how much I was going to enjoy it. And for me, a peek behind the doors was things were going really well. Like I'm not going to say they weren't, like things were going good, but as you said, it's going from good to great. I don't want to be good, I want to be great. Do you know what I mean? I want that in every level. I don't want to have a great business and a shit personal life, or be really good in the gym but not be able to have a good relationship. It's like I want it all, like, and like I can have it all easily. But it's just discipline, routines, habits, and for me, it's like even with my training, like the mind comes first. Like once the mind's there, everything else flows. And like I get peaks and I get troughs and I get ups and I get down, and like it never hurts for me to have somebody else in my corner that for me can move the needle whenever I'm struggling or I get foggy. Like I can only see the next step. And it's just going, well, somebody else can read you externally rather than you read yourself. It's like, it's very easy for me to be like, well, this is this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. But then you can go, do you remember you done this 3 years ago, and that went tits up? This looks like a fucking repeat, and you're gonna get the same lesson. It's like, oh, so just another like temp check.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think this sounds good. Off everything that's went before, this is great. Have you looked at that? It's just another set of eyes. Like you can't go wrong with. Too many chefs ruin the broth, but like there's nothing wrong with like having somebody else whenever you're driving fucking give you a hand, fucking double check your corners, because you've always got a blind spot. Like the other week when me and Yip were driving and I went to pull out, like, and there was somebody there like it would have fucking crashed, and he just shouted, he just in his voice he went ah, and I just automatically hit the brake. Yeah. Car didn't hit us, it drove on. But he was in my blind spot. Like I couldn't have seen him if I checked. It was just when I checked. So for me, it's like you're the blind spot, because that's what happened with like a past relationship for me before. Like I remember I was in a long-term relationship, and like it was a blind spot that nobody told me about, and it wasn't on them to tell me. But I feel like if I had you in my corner or somebody else, I would have copped it. I would have copped it. Yeah, and it's like you'll not be afraid to give me a harsh truth. And for me, nobody else at that time was in my personal life willing to give me the hard truth, which is a lesson I had to pay. And that was the same with like even now, like last year of my like the amount of work I was doing and how much I was enjoying. I was like, I can feel this is a blind spot, but people aren't telling me. So I was like,
do you remember the first bit of homework I gave you before you even signed up?
Oh, what was it?
It was to do with the fitness business.
What, getting rid of a lot of like the workload? Yeah. Like it was pretty much like delegating a lot of the bare bones stuff, like the on board. It was just I was still caught in it, but it was like doing it for the sake of doing it rather than like it was just a blind spot. Like I actually knew I should do it. It was also accountability, but as you said, it was like just speeding of the process. It was something I wasn't even taking into consideration. Knew I should do it. It was like I'll get it done, and it's just that extra layer then.
Well, I spotted it and give you a deadline. Said get it done by this date.
Yeah, deadlines work really well.
Let me know if you're serious or not. And then you were like, and you actually said, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong. Watch me.
Yeah,
and I said, all right, let me see it. And
I get it done very fast. Yeah, I am quick. But like, it's just one of them things. Like them blind spots, you don't see it. Somebody else holding you accountable. For me, it's like that higher level in all areas. But I think it's the blind spot thing, because most people have that where something's went wrong and they went, how did I not see that? Like I wasn't taking enough downtime. Like 2 years went by and you haven't taken a holiday, or you haven't used your money for fun as well, or you're using all your money for fun and you're not investing. It's like just another set of eyes that has your best intention at heart is really, really good, because like I'm paying you for that as well. Like as much as you have family and friends, like when you actually pay somebody for it, you're like, I'm paying to take your advice, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Versus others sometimes feels like opinion. And do you know what I mean? Everybody's got an opinion, Joe.
Yeah. The blind spot thing is huge, which is why I always have mentors in my corner, because you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right? Yeah. And my job is just to hold up a mirror and say, well, hang on, you said you wanted to do this, but actually, does that decision take you towards that or not? And you're like, yeah. And I say, well, really? Or have you considered this situation? Or actually, emotionally, what's going on here? But you can't do that when you're inside it. And I find when you have somebody trained to go, hang on, have you looked at this bit? Have you looked at this bit? It makes a big difference. One of my clients is in Hollywood right now, and he has a series of like, he's in that world of show business. He has a situation where he's kind of been frozen out of what he's doing for a couple of weeks. Essentially, he's not going to be able to be on TV for a couple of weeks for something that's going on. So his thing was, well, actually, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go big on my social media, and I'm going to go on these rants, and I'm going to go this, and I spoke to my manager, and I think it's a good idea, and I'm going to do this. I said, oh, hang on. So all of those people that are generally in control of your destiny, tell me about those. Well, they've got big egos. They're quite insecure. They're quite... Yeah. I was like, okay. So do you think you going AWOL right now and going off and doing your own thing is gonna make them feel safer in this moment? Or is it more likely going to trigger them and go, well, hang on, we're looking at his next big thing now, and now he's doing that.
Yeah.
And he just hadn't considered it. Now, I might not necessarily be right, but what I will do is look at poking all the holes in, okay, well, let's test this assumption. You believe if you do X, it will result to Y. But what about this? Or how about this? And that might sound quite negative, and that might sound quite fucking out. Like, is Kieran just burying me on my ideas? But the point is, I'm holding up mirrors to the blind spots. Only then, as we're testing the idea, we're ripping the assumption apart, you start to go, oh my God, we both go, that's a fucking genius idea, or, oh, actually, I never looked at it that way, you know? And that gives you an understanding of why you need these people in your corner.
It helps your conviction. So really good example of this as well is somebody asked me for relationship advice the other week. I just had an open, honest conversation with them. And I started challenging them on why they shouldn't be in a relationship. And he just agreed loads. And then I had this exact same conversation with somebody else a couple of weeks later, right? And I used the exact same questions. I was like, yeah, like, I don't see a mariner, just throwing it in there. No, wait there. Like, started defending. And I was like, two different conversations. And I was like, the fact that you're now defending this shows me that, like, it shows me a different side. Like, there's conviction to this. So you become, otherwise it's like you become convicted in either way.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody turned around and was like, I don't think you're going to get 1 million followers on Instagram. And I'd be like, hold on, like, I'm going to get them. It's just, it builds your conviction even saying it. And it also, you'll defend something you fully believe in. So like, if you challenge me on something and I'm like, I get your viewpoint and I see it and I understand your perception. I see you're checking the blind spot, but like, putting my bet on, I'd put my money on this, and you fight back with it. It gives you even more faith to do it. And I feel like that's the main thing. That conviction then builds with that because you've seen every side.
Yeah. And then at the same time, sometimes you realize, fuck, maybe I don't have that much conviction about this.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe this thing isn't as important as I've told myself it to be. Or maybe this isn't the right idea. Because in a lot of my clients, I don't know their worlds. You know, some of them are working in various different businesses, various different industries. I don't know anything about it, but I don't need to. And actually, sometimes it works to my advantage. Because I'm like, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. I go, right. So why can't you do it this way? Why doesn't this work? That's not how this industry works. Well, tell me, why not? Well, no one's really kind of done it that way. Why not do it that way? Or clients often come to me about investment. So I've got this idea, I want to do this, and then I'll just say, why?
Yeah.
Why? What are you investing for? What's the point? Why do you want to get to this? You haven't told me why you're investing. So how can you make a good decision? I don't know anything about the investments that they're looking at, the financial instruments or the industries, right? But by challenging the thought and the why, what outcome do you want? Why? Does that take you towards your long-term goal or not? If the answer is no, why are you doing it now? If the answer is yes, then how? Tell me more. And that's really where I work together. We're not always in mentor mode where I'm saying emotionally or decisions or 100%. Frameworks. A lot of time we're in thinking partnership mode, which is, all right, you're an expert in your field, but let me just challenge your assumptions. Tell me more about that.
Yes, exactly.
And that will save you from making more mistakes than not being afraid to be challenged.
One thing that's really good too when you're making decisions about business or anything, I feel like that we've got really bang on the money is, does it align with the morals and values where you want to go? So like really good example is like, is this reducing stress in the long term? Is this fun? Is this actually going to improve the quality of your life? Because like, there's been stages where I've been like to you, right, this will make me more money and this, and you're like, how much of a headache is that though? And I'm like, well, it's probably going to be a bit of a headache. And I'm like, well then like, why don't we just continue doing what we're doing? And it's just very straightforward. So letting like for me, as long as I am improving, moving forward, scaling, and I am less stressed, making more money and having fun, I'm like, fuck, I'm laughing. And the funniest thing is what I found is when I follow them three, they actually pick up faster than if I was to go off morals and values. Do you know what I mean? So it's funny because it's like a feedback loop of just like everything just keeps going well. Yeah. And yeah, like I feel like that's the main thing. If you can make sure that you're going off your values, what really means the most to you, where you want your time to go. Like don't get me wrong, like I can afford a Ferrari, like I can go buy one, like, but it's like, does that, I probably will at some stage, but like right now, does that add to like low stress and more fun? Like, yeah, maybe a bit more fun, but like, could I use that money to then ease pressure and do YouTubes and do more trips? And it's like, well, where is going to give me the most fun? And is there any ego involved in that? And if nobody else I knew could have the Ferrari, would I want it? And it's like, these questions come into play. Just making better decisions. But like for me, it's like I just enjoy being low stress and shooting the shit and having a conversation that's like a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like actually having jokes. Like for me, it doesn't matter how high or low I am. Like having the crack, having like a laugh, shooting the shit with the boys around the table with a beer, or like sitting relaxing at a beach club or on holidays. Like doesn't matter how broke or how well. That's pretty much as high as it gets. My goal is just to be there more often.
Yeah. Well, having a laugh is a superpower. Like people don't realize, like having a laugh breaks down tension. For me, when you're with your mates, or even in business, right, or with your mentors, if you can just have a laugh, it breaks tension, it creates calm, and you relax a hell of a lot more. Like sometimes, even when somebody presents you a series of facts that are quite uncomfortable, and you can go, that's fucking hilarious. I can't believe I made that mistake. Oh, why did I not see it like that way? You just break everything down, and then you start having fun again.
Yeah, exactly. I think humor too is really underrated in people's, like, fun and then humor, like the two things, like having a laugh, having fun, like they're really underrated, because like how you feel as an individual is everything. And then, you know, like whenever somebody's having fun or they're having a laugh on you, it's much easier to like the person, to be on the journey with them, and you also move forward far faster. Like for me, it's even like people be going on dates and they be taking it all serious. And like I am there generally to have a laugh and have a good time myself. If it's not, then like that's okay, but like I'll have a good time. It's like when I book something or I'm going to do something, I'm like, I would do this regardless because it's fun. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm here for this. Like, and then if they are or they don't, then it helps me to make decisions and stuff. But it's a case of like, I feel like there's too much pressure a lot of the times.
You know what it is? People take themselves far too seriously. Like they create this identity, this persona that I am this or this or this. And you realize, like, you know, anyone, even the Prime Minister is gets stuck on the toilet scrolling on Twitter sometimes, right? Exactly. And you just got to stop taking yourself so seriously. And there's I like to do this tool. It's called the headline tool, right? So, right, let's use today as an example, right? Some of you that watch the podcast are probably looking at my haircut thinking, what is going on? Did Kieran not wash his hair today? What's happening, right? And essentially, I've changed my haircut for the first time in 15 years. Probably don't do that on a podcast day. Now, I could sit here and be really serious, or try and brush under it. Or I go, you know what? I look like Dumb and Dumber today. And that's fucking cool. And we can have a fucking laugh about it, right? Because if you cling to, I have to present in a certain way and I have to be this, it's so tense. So for me, and not everyone values humor. You know, sometimes you meet someone and they're just like,
I think a lot of people want it though. Like I think that's sometimes why I would have got a lot of stick. I had to see the perception of like, was I not serious enough? And that's why I got stick online about like the wolf and the jokes and stuff. But I'm like, that is how I am as an individual. Now, do I crack as many mom jokes? I'll probably not, like, but like I do make a lot of stupid, like childish jokes. Like I am a complete bro through and through. But it's like, I think sometimes whenever people get triggered by that, they're triggered like, don't listen to him because of this and that. I'm like, I wonder, is like, to an extent, is that just because I look like I'm having fun? You know, everything I do, I laugh my balls off for it. So I'm like, how is this wrong or right? And I think that then speaks volumes, because I'd rather be the person that's laughing than the person that's serious. You know, you can be taken serious both ways, regardless. It's just a case of like how you perceive it. It's all personality based too, I suppose. But it's just like, I think it's worked as well. Like you can like people are like, that's just not me, but it's personalities are ingrained through time. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like it's very, very different. Like,
well, it's funny when I look at your content and I look at Tony, right? The common thread is you're always having a fucking laugh and you're always having a wind up and you're always like fucking each other in the ribs. You fucking have that, you know?
Yeah,
and
we just talk about it. Like,
that's great. But I think in your content, you dial it up.
Yeah, of course.
And you're taking the piss and you're on a real wind up.
It's because I love it. Like I feel like a child. Like
you turn into a big chub. But what's funny, right? Is if I didn't know Tony, because I didn't actually, if you remember, I wasn't even on Instagram for ages, and I just knew this Tony. But I remember logging on Instagram, and I remember seeing all your mum jokes, and I was like, hey, like that's not the Tony I like the laughs.
Yeah,
but the mum
exactly.
jokes, like you've never taken the piss out of my mum.
No, of course
But maybe it's
not.
because I have a
But
Titanic
in
right hand.
person
You
is-
know I have a right hand. So
Yeah,
that-
true. But
you
like,
wouldn't.
I don't know if some randomers like or your
Yeah.
friend's mum's dead or something. For me, it's like that's an easy thing. But like, if I'm with people, like I'll be slagging them constantly. Like it's just me. But I expect it back and forth. It's humor. It's funny. It's just like it's how everything's been since I've been young. But like, I feel like people also be like, oh, well, that is new Philly. But I'm just like really transparent with people. I'm like, see the way I am online. That is how I am with the boys messing about as a group at a beach club. Like the way I am there versus how I am when I'm in the bedroom with somebody versus how I am whenever I'm sitting on the sofa watching the Bake Off with my mum. Like there is, you dial things up and down by like how I am on this podcast when you talk about business versus when we start having a laugh talking about this. It's not two different people. It's just you have different demeanors. It's like when you go into work and you're a bit more serious. It's not that you're a different person.
When
You're
I've
just,
seen you speak, for example,
very different.
bang down, straight down the money, right? And then you have this seriousness, and you straight down to the point. It's value, 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 and then you just drop this silent little joke that has the whole room laughing, right?
Yeah.
And
It's just dialing it.
yeah,
Like I get that like all the time. Like I could do stand up, and I'm just like I could not do stand up. Like I'm not the height to do
what?
stand up. Like
You know what?
that'd be fucking gas. But no, like
I actually was writing stand up jokes for a while.
mate, no,
stand-up,
like it's too tough. Like
it's a different. I actually think stand up is the ultimate level of confidence,
Yeah,
but
of course.
then it's also the ultimate level of insecurity. So every single comic, like the big comics talk about, is this need to please the crowd, this need to make people laugh, and often they have quite deep emotional upbringings. But then also at the same time, comedians are some of the sharpest, smartest people on the planet. Like their ability,
it's IQ, 100%.
their ability to make an association from one thing, an observation, and
Yes.
then have the verbal fluency to say
Storytell.
something where you're just rolling. Like, incredible.
Like you imagine whenever, because I studied the storytelling comedians because like that's what I would be focusing on as I move platforms. And I've done this a while back, and it's like the amount of cuts I have to do in a 30-second video to keep people's attention versus like you're on stage with a mic telling a story. There's barely any cuts. Like the amount of stimulating I have to do to keep you with me is so intense versus like when you can tell a good story or you can keep people in frame, everything flows better. Like even your conversations, you can feel like where we flowed and then where we need to pivot, and it's flowed quite smoothly. But whereas like doing something like that from start to finish is intense. But yeah, it's all IQ. I think a lot of life is that, and your IQ develops by where you put the time in, your skills. Like if you're putting it into making people laugh, you become better. That's why I became a funnier person in the last like 3 years, because it's what I've actually focused on that's paid off. And then every time it pays off, you're like, I'll put more in here. Well, it feeds that. Whereas if you've been serious and that's the only way you've been there and that's all you've done, you've never got anything out of the other way. Versus like when I talk to everything from people I know to reels to stories to girls I've dated, like usually first words is like, funny, relaxed. I'm like, fuck right. Well, that's what it is. Not good looking, like fuck's sake, but it's not chiseled 6 foot like. But it's like, Joe, that's what's got me to where I am. So then it feeds that. Yeah. So I think it's just what builds you is what you lean on your strengths then, Joe.
Yeah.
No,
I think when I started doing Instagram, right, I did that for the company.
You
Total
do,
Mental
yeah, you
Performance.
do,
That's
yeah.
why I got into that. But a few of my mates pulled me up on it, and he goes, "You look so serious on the internet."
Yeah, you did.
And I went,
So did I though. Everyone does.
I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, and I remember my mate scrolling from a page. He's like, "Look at that picture. Look at that picture. Look at that picture. Look at that reel. Look at that video." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "You're not smiling. You're not having a laugh, right?" So I think sometimes you can kind of just forget, because I like to have a laugh. Like
you lose yourself.
Even when we're talking about quite emotional topics, I still like to bring in a little humor, because it brings down the tension around
Exactly.
it. It changes the perspective and goes, well, could be worse.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Like humor breaks everything down, but I think most people can get that very confused. And Joe, it's like, oh, you're bringing it in for like a down patch, but like really good examples. We ever got any issues like way back when I was working in the power service, like really bad. There was a lot of dark humor used, and it's also coping mechanism. It's it's. I just think honestly, like everything, like no matter how serious it is, no matter what way it is, it's all about if you can bring a laugh in it, everything else gets less serious, and then life's just much better. Like Jesus Christ, people, as you said, I think people take themselves and life too serious. Like you're gonna die anyway. Like you may as well have fun along the way. And realistically, to me, it's like no matter how high or low it is, money, all that doesn't really matter massively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Jimmy Carr puts it best. I fucking love Jimmy Carr. I've read his book. I've been to see him. Oh my God, what a like some of the jokes he says is just out like dark, right? But when he was asked, what's the meaning of life? He said, very simple. I'll put it in 5 words. Enjoying the passage of time. And I'm like, oh, Jimmy, you've killed me, son.
Yeah.
Plug it out. That's so,
that is it, though.
But it is, right? And as ambitious as you are and all the dreams and all the hard work that you put in, that's fine. But make sure you have a laugh on the way, because otherwise business is a very lonely, difficult, stressful, anxious-ridden place. So by having the right people around you, by having a different perspective of, well, you got your ass kicked, son. Let's go again. And laughing about it, going, oh, that hurt, but okay, all right, next, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's an underrated skill.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's something I've slowly got to grasp. It wasn't always like that too. You build it in. Yeah. It's just like everything. We're all learning. I'm still learning how to take life less serious too at times. Probably need to take it a bit more serious at this stage, but grow up.
So I got 4 questions about the coaching that we've done together.
Go for it.
So if you're going to say, before we started to where you are now, like, what would you say the key differences are from Tony who walked in to where you are in this spot?
Oh, in the last 2 years alone, I think I went a lot from like a boy to a man. I'm way less stressed. I'm way more fun. I definitely don't do things I don't want to do anymore. You know, like I'm very in my zone of genius. Like everything from like my income is sky high, my profit's sky high, but also like stress is low, downtime's high. Like I live a life like that. I didn't think you could walk for a long time where you could have like it all, but like I'm having a really good like lifestyle now in every aspect, and things just continue to grow. I'm not like stuck. I'm progressing, and it feels like, not that I don't have no ceiling, but like it really does feel like it's just like, fuck, where is this going to end up? It's actually intense. So yeah, like where I was like a year ago even is insane. But like we've only been working here for like 6 months, and the difference is night and day. Just even of like calmness is a big thing for me, and like I know that I can get where I want to go. Do you know what I mean? You're a really good pillar in my corner, and I just feel a lot like everything's just moving in the right direction now, and I've got somebody that covers my blind spots a lot better, whereas I was missing things very easily in every area, business, personal, and just having that person check them moves me forward. Having the accountability, having that person in your corner makes a big difference in my opinion.
Yeah, and what would you say some of the outcomes are since you made some of the tweaks and some of the suggestions and used those tools?
Oh, straightforward. Like I'd say my income in every business is pretty much doubled. Profit as well. I haven't lost profit in it. I take a lot of time off. Like I probably take like the majority of the weekend off. I take like a half day during the week. I have a lot more passive income. I have a lot more fun too. Like I'm not just like working off scarcity. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm very much like enjoying my life. I'm making better decisions a lot of the time, Joe. And for me, that was something that was frustrating me. I was making very poor decisions. But like even just the fact like I'm making more, having more fun, I'm lower stressed, I have better personal life. I'm like, fuck me, what else do I want? Like, do you know, everything's just improving for me at a drastic pace, a lot faster than it would by myself. So that's why it's like worth the investment, it's worth the move.
What would you say to anyone that's on the fence about doing this work?
I think if you're not willing to invest in yourself, it shows the fact that you don't have no self-belief in yourself, and that's probably a reason to do it more. I think personally, it's like, if you're not willing to work on your mindset, like, how do you go to where you want to go? It's the main thing that holds people back is not lack of knowledge. It's lack of implementation. It's lack of it's lack of actual personal understanding of what's holding you back. Sometimes you just need people to hold a mirror up to you, hold it up to your blind spots, not afraid to chip into little areas that are holding you back, and keep you with forward momentum. So I think if you're on the fence, like I always think like it's just like you're actually afraid to invest in yourself. It's not that it's not going to work. It 100% works. So it's just a case of you're not investing. It's something that you're like, I'm not going to do the work. And I think that then in itself tells you should do it. So either way, you should do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think it's silly if they don't.
And a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of mentors, a lot of people in that space struggle to make the connection between the way in which you think and feel and scaling companies and scaling businesses through this type of work. What would you say to them that are struggling to make that connection between mental performance consultancy and scaling a company? Because I'm not giving you, here's how you build the company.
No, you're not doing business like you're not doing a whole lot of like nitpicking like systems and operations. What you're doing is you're focused on my morals, my values, where I want to go, and then making sure I walk a line that gets me there faster. So the accountability of it, and also the fact that like you have somebody to answer to that's a completely external. I think a lot of people think they don't relate, but that's insane because you've got like pro athletes have mental performance coaches for a reason. Like people don't go big distances without somebody in their corner. Do you know what I mean? Like when a boxer goes back in the corner, it's not them by themselves. Like, do you know what I mean? You need somebody to help you prepare you in between the rounds and be like, right, that round was very fast. Take this round slower. That round didn't look like much fun. Maybe don't do that again. Remember 4 fights ago, that fight went shit for you because you done this. Don't do that again, mate. So just having somebody that actually has your best interest at heart, like a family member, is really, really key. And that's almost what I see you as a cornerstone. That's really, really important there. But like, not only right decisions, but it's also like, I'm not just making more, I'm also working less. Personal's better. It's just like, it's the interlap, because if somebody says your personal life or how you flow as an individual doesn't affect your business, you're fucking stupid, like, honestly.
Okay, well, look, Tony, mate, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Like, I can only say I always look forward to your sessions. I always look forward to jumping on a call. And for me, it's really important. Like, I love what I do. I'm also a little bit selfish. And where I am selfish is I've got to be excited to work with a client. I also think it's important that when you're at the level at which I'm coaching now, you have to be in awe of your client, and your client has to be in awe of you. You have to be in awe of each other. When I see Tony and what he does and what he builds and how he does it and the way in which he shows up, I'm like, fucking, that's cool. And then he cracks in a little joke and a little laugh, and I hit him with a right hand. He goes, "Dunk, oh yeah, thank you." It's good fun. So yeah, I really enjoy coaching you. It's so fun. And the trajectory that you're on, I think 3 to 5 years from now, we'll look back to this podcast and we'll be like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be good. Like, it's only really getting started, which is the mad thing. Yeah, it's intense. No, I really appreciate all the help. It's meant a lot to me. It's made a big, big difference in my life in every aspect. I can't thank you enough for it.
Yeah, doing good work. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Type in at Tony McAleavy or The Wolf. You can get me on YouTube. Will be starting soon, but mainly Instagram's the main platform. But yeah, you'll find me. Don't worry.
Cool. All right, team, that's another episode of the Total Mental Performance Podcast. If you love this episode, please share it on your stories, put it out on your email, share it with other people, leave any comments, questions. And that's me for this week. Big love.